That's right.
See you there.
The sensational murder trial raising questions when it comes to home defense. How far is too far? Byron Smith shot and killed two teenagers who broke into his home, and he's now on trial for double murder. Smith says he was just protecting himself. But prosecutors argue he went too far, and the trial is now in its third day. Two trial attorneys with extensive experience in criminal cases join us, Brian Claypool and David Wool. Thank you both for joining us today.
Hi there, Elizabeth.
Now, David, I want to start with you because either way you slice it, this is just a really tough case to bear. But the burden of proof for the prosecutors, because they claim that it was premeditated murder and that he was waiting for these teens. So talk to me about the burden of proof that they have here in this case. Can they do it?
Well, it's beyond a reasonable doubt. And look at the circumstances of the case. This man had 12 prior felony break-ins in his home in increasing violence. In this particular instance, these kids smashed his window out and violently entered his home. What does the prosecutor want? For him to wait till the 13th, the 14th, or the 15th to wait till he's stabbed or shot himself? Minnesota law is very clear. It says that a homeowner can respond to a felonious act in his home with deadly force. So if a felony is being committed, like a home invasion or a burglary, he can use deadly force, which is precisely what he did. This verdict has no option other than not guilty, and I suspect that's what's going to happen, Elizabeth.
All right, Brian, to David's point, like he said, under Minnesota law, a person may use deadly force to protect his or her home, right. But did Smith go too far here?
Well, absolutely, he went too far. It's called the Castle Doctrine in Minnesota, not the OK Corral Doctrine and not the Wild Wild West Doctrine. There are two key points to this doctrine, Elizabeth. One is the homeowner has to be in immediate threat of grave harm. There's no evidence that either of these teenagers were armed. And number two, Mr. Smith has a duty to retreat. He kept shooting these teenagers after the initial shots. And that's what I think the prosecution has. They're probably going to bring in a forensic pathologist to say that the continued shots, the second, the third, the fourth shot, is what likely killed these two teenagers. And at that point in time, he had a duty to retreat, and it does constitute first-degree premeditated murder.
As a matter of fact, this young man, Nick Brady, had broken into his home 2 prior occasions. What is he supposed to do? Wait until the young man takes a handgun out of his back pocket and shoots him? Look, he has a right to defend his home under a felonious attack. Well, hold on, Brian, with deadly force. Now, granted, a Mini 14, which is the rifle he used, is a powerful gun, and one shot probably would have done the trick. But he shot 2, 3, 4 times because when you shoot someone who's smashing into your home, and in one case the door was kicked down, but in this case the windows were smashed, you don't shoot them to wound them, you shoot to kill because it's your life or it's theirs, and there is no duty to retreat from a felonious attack or a home invasion into your house that's accomplished by smashing windows. No way the jury will acquit.
David, it wasn't Osama bin Laden breaking into the home. It was two teenagers.
Brian, I want to refocus on one of the points because David had mentioned that he felt like he was in grave harm. But to set the scene for some of our viewers, at one point his gun did jam in between killing the first victim and the second victim, and he paused to actually apologize before taking the life of his second victim. So does that prove at that point that he felt like he was in grave danger? Brian?
It doesn't, Elizabeth, because the standard is an objective standard. It's not a subjective standard. And he even said he's sorry. He even said he's sorry after he killed the girl. And by the way, your viewers need to know, the girl that was killed made a comment to him before he killed her saying she was looking for Brady, the young boy. She was looking for him. She wasn't going to say, hey, I'm going to hurt you. There are no verbal threats, no physical confrontation. And Elizabeth, even police officers have a duty before they use deadly force to say, hey, stop or I'm going to shoot. I'm here. I'm going to shoot and kill you unless you
David,
stop.
you get the last word. We're running out of time. You get the last word, David.
Yeah, this isn't the same standard of proof. And this young lady came in after a violent entrance by her boyfriend. There was nothing. There is a recording that he apologizes for it. But guess what? He was sorry after this happened. He was sorry these kids lost their lives. But in the end, it is their fault they lost their lives.
Okay, the victim's cousins, 17 and 18 years old. Like we said, either way you slice it, very difficult. Thank you both for joining us, David and Brian. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
So